Hey crystal lovers, Ashley Levy here with the Love and Light School of Crystal Therapy, and in this video I'm going to teach you step by step how to create your very own crystal grid for shielding and protection. This is something I get asked about so often, and most of the time people think about using crystals for protection in terms of carrying them with them or wearing these crystals as protective jewelry. But did you know that you can actually follow this really easy crystal grid recipe to create a grid that creates an energy of lasting protection, not only in your environment, but that continues to work with you energetically when you're out and about. In this grid, we're going to be working with some of my favorite crystals. We'll be using black tourmaline, and we'll also be using peridot, as well as labradorite. And I know this is always kind of a favorite because of that gorgeous, gorgeous flash. So I'm going to be walking you through the exact process that I use to create this protective grid, and we'll also be talking about a few common questions like how to activate your grid and work with it after you've set it up, as well as whether or not the size of your crystals matters for your grid. So I'm going to walk you through this exact process, show you where to place the crystals, and show you exactly how you can go through this entire grid creation process step by step. And this crystal grid recipe helps create a protective space for you and your loved ones, as well as forming an energetic shield around you. So you'll be protected both while you're within its presence and also when leaving the space. There are a few supplies that you'll need to create this crystal grid for protection and shielding. So first you'll need a black tourmaline crystal. You can have this be a rough crystal like this one, or you can work with a tumbled stone, totally up to you, but you'll need that. And you will need 6 peridot stones, and I have 6 very tiny little peridot stones here. If you don't have 6 pieces of peridot, you can work with another crystal of your choice that would be for disintegrating or dissolving energy. So green tourmaline, black obsidian, gold sheen obsidian, those would all be excellent choices as well. And I want to show you, if you're wondering, Ashley, do these even work when they're that little? These are just little tiny peridot chips. The answer is yes. I mean, the size of your crystals isn't super imperative for your grid work, but if you look at how peridot forms, this is peridot in its kind of like olivine formation. It forms these little tiny pieces. And so it makes sense that, a piece that you might have, a small chip, is going to be just about the size that these form on the stone. And so when they're actually shot out of volcanoes, when they're forming in this volcanic environment, they are cooling very rapidly, and so that leaves little time for crystallization. So you get these really tiny little crystals. Now you can, on occasion, find larger pieces of peridot, but they're quite pricey, they're quite expensive, and so getting enough of these to create a grid where you're using multiples of the same stone might not be super cost effective. And in fact, I only have 2 of these, so I couldn't use any of this size to create my grid, which is why I'm resorting to these tiny chips. They're really affordable, and I'm still bringing the energy of peridot into my grid. So you're going to want to start by making sure that all of your crystals have been cleansed. That's a must. And then you want to set an intention for your grid. This can be something really general, like I'm safe and protected, I'm shielded from negative influences, both physical and energetic. And you can make this affirmation really generalized or really specific to your situation. So you're going to start with your black tourmaline, and again, this can be a crystal like this one, or it could be a tumbled stone, totally up to you, but this is going to be your anchor stone or central stone in your grid because it represents really focused, intense protective energy. And I'm working with a Seed of Life grid base because this is about manifesting or calling in specific energies. We want to call in the energy of protection here. So I'm going to, with intention, place my central stone, place that black tourmaline, and when I say with intention, I mean as you place this crystal, hold that intention in mind. Here, that one that I just said about being protected physically and energetically and safe, whatever your intention is, hold that in your mind while you place your central stone. And you can do this out loud or silently to yourself, totally up to you. Next, you're going to place your 6 peridot crystals. And like I said, these are known for disintegrating and dissolving negative energy from your aura and your environment. And you're going to, and like I said, if you need to substitute these out, that's fine. But you're going to place these in the center of each of the outside circles of the seed of life. So if we have, this is the interior circle here, and then we have these 6 outer circles. So right in the center where this overlap happens, basically at the point of this little flower petal shape in the very center there, that's where you're going to place these peridot crystals. And as you place each one, you're going to hold that intention in your mind again. Hold that intention for safety, protection, and calling that into you as you place each of these crystals. And you can see, even though they're tiny, they're there doing their job, holding space for my intention to manifest, and doing their work to shield and protect me and dissolve any negativity coming in. Finally, you're going to place your 6 labradorite crystals, and these are used for energetic shielding. And again, these can be rough chunks, they can be tumbled stones. I like the tumbled stones because I really like the flash that they have. And you're going to place these on the point where the outer circles cross on the outside edge. So these little kind of divots where the circles cross is where you're going to place your labradorite. So we have the inner circles represented here with the peridot, the outer circles being brought into the geometry of this grid through the peridot. And you're placing those with that intention. And once all of your crystals have been placed, you can make any adjustments that you need. If one seems, a little out of place or something like that, feel free to wiggle it around. It's okay. And then you're going to activate your crystal grid. So I'm using just a clear quartz little mini wand. It's a wand because it's tapered in shape, which really directs and focuses and enhances the energy. And I'm going to start by placing this with the termination or tip pointed toward my central stone. And I'm going to activate my inner grid first and then my outer grid. If these were in perfect alignment, say my labradorite were here, then I could just make one line and link or connect the energy of all my crystals. But because they're over here, I have actually 2 separate shapes, and you'll see what I mean. So I need to do basically 2 levels of activation here to make sure all of my crystals are linked and connected. So I'm going to start by pointing my termination toward my central stone, holding my intention in place, and then basically drawing energetic lines or connections first up to this top peridot, down to the next, back to center, and then going to the one I just came from, down to the next, back to center. And you always go back along the most recent line that you just made while holding that intention. And basically what you're doing here is connecting all of these crystals energetically. And then when I get back to the center, now I'm going to do my outer ring of activation on the labradorite. So now to the labradorite. Again, while holding that intention for safety and protection. And all the way back to the first one I started with and back to center. And now when you return to the very central stone, you're going to hold that intention in mind and fuse this with energy. So feel the energy being drawn in from the universe, down through your body, out your arm, out your hand, through the crystal, and into that central stone. And when you feel it's really been charged up with energy, your activation is complete. Now, after creating your own grid, you're going to leave this grid in place for as long as you feel like you need this protective energy. But be sure to come back and revisit your intention statement periodically to make sure that it's still really relevant for you and what your needs are. You can change this intention statement anytime your situation changes and go ahead and reactivate your grid at that time. You may even want to swap out some of the crystals or substitute in some other types of stones. You'll also want to cleanse the crystals in this grid at least once or twice a month because this grid is pulling such heavy duty doing this amazing protective work. That's it for today's video. I hope that you found a lot of useful tips and information about creating your own crystal grid for shielding and protection. If you'd like more information about crystals and crystal healing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at Love and Light School, like me on Facebook, or even sign up for my weekly email newsletter or check out my podcast, Love and Light Live. Until next time, crystal blessings.